Hi S3, I hope you're all well. I thought I'd better go over some of the coordinate work because it's the first time you've seen it. So I'm going to give it a go. I've got a large piece of wallpaper here that I'm going to use, and I'm going to try and video it and go over it at the same time, so please bear with me. Right, so with our vector work so far, we've been looking at vectors mainly in 2 dimensions. Okay, now what we're moving on to now is to look at vectors in 3 dimensions. But before we can do vectors in 3 dimensions, we have to actually be able to read coordinates of our 3-dimensional diagram. So you'll see here in this diagram here, I've got my x-axis going along here. I've got my y-axis up and down the way there. And my z-axis is like coming out of the paper. Okay, so I want you to try and visualise that in 3 dimensions. Okay. Now, in question 1, we're asked to find the coordinates of G. Now, the first coordinate is the x-coordinate, and we've got to think how far along the x-axis do I go to get to G? Well, this here's the origin, okay? Now, it's difficult to visualise, but G is actually right on the 0 value of x. Okay, so we're not going along the x-axis at all to get to G. We're just staying here at 0. Okay, so the x coordinate of G is 0. Okay, now the y coordinate, I want you to think how far you go up to get to G. Well, you go up 3 places to get to G. So the y coordinate of G there is 3. And finally, the z coordinate is how far out you're going to get to G. And you'll see that we're going out 2 places in the z axis. So the z coordinate of G is 2. So the coordinates there of G are 0, 3, 2. Okay? Right, moving on to H. This time, to get to H along the x-axis, I go along 5 places. Okay? So the x coordinate of H is 5. Okay? Now, how far up the y coordinate did I go to get to H? Well, you'll see that I go up 3 places. Okay? So the y coordinate of H there is 3. And how far along the z axis? So the z axis is there. Well, we don't go out on the z axis at all for H. So the z coordinate of H there is 0. Okay. Right, moving on to question 2. There's the diagram for question 2 here. Okay, so this time I've got to write down all the coordinates A, B, C, O, P, Q, R and S. Okay, so again I've got my x coordinate here, my y coordinate going up and down, and my z coordinate coming out the page here. Right, so let's start off with A. A's there. Okay, now we look how far along the x coordinate do I go to get to A. Well, I go along 2 places, so the x coordinate of A there is 2. How far up the y do I go to get to A? Well, I'm not going up at all, so the y coordinate there is 0. And finally, how far out do I go to get to A? Well, again, I'm not going out at all, so the z coordinate there is 0 as well. Okay, right, looking at B. Okay, B's down here. So how far along the x did I go to get to B? Well, I go along 2 places. So B's x coordinate's 2. Y coordinate, well, like A, it's sitting on the ground there. Okay, it's sitting on the ground here, so we're not going up at all to get to B. So B, the y coordinate is 0. And how far out the z axis do I go to get to B? Well, I go out 3 places, so the z coordinate there is 3. Okay. Right, on to point C. Okay, so it's lying on the same plane as A, okay, and B. And this time we're not going along the x-axis at all. Okay, so the x coordinate for C is 0. Okay, looking at C again, how far up the y do I go? Well, I don't go up the y at all because it's sitting there on the ground with A and B, so the y coordinate is 0. But I have gone out the z axis. Okay, I've gone out 3 places. so the z coordinate is 3. Okay, that takes me to O. Now O is the origin, so that means we're just looking at 0, 0 and 0 there. Okay, right, on to P. P. Okay, so P's here. Right, so P is quite difficult to visualise, but to get to P, we're going along 2 in the x-axis. Okay, so we're going along 2 because it's sort of in line with A here. Okay, so we're going along 2 places. 2. Then I'm going out 3 places. Sorry, scrap that. I'm going along 2 places. I'm going up 1 place, so my y coordinate is 1. And I'm going out 3 places, so my z coordinate is 3. Okay, on to Q. Right, so in Q, I don't move along the x at all. Okay, so the x coordinate is 0. Okay, so starting at the origin, think how I get there. I go up 1 place, so my y coordinate is 1. And then I'm going out 3 places, so my z coordinate is 3. Okay, and finally R, I don't go along the x at all, so my x coordinate is 0. I go up my y coordinate 1 place, so my y coordinate is 1. And I don't go out z at all, so z is 0. Okay, finally S. I go along my x coordinate 2 places, so my x coordinate is 2. I go up 1 place in the y, so the y coordinate is 1. Okay, and I don't come out at all. Okay, I don't come out at all in my z axis, so my z coordinate there is going to be 0. Okay. Right, I'm moving on to question 3, which is here. Here's the diagram for question 3 here. Right, okay. Question 3, got to write down all the coordinates here. So starting with A, well A's sitting there on the origin. Right folks, on to question 3 here. I've written down the coordinates of A because A is the origin. So we've got 0, 0, 0 there. Okay, question B, coordinate B, we're told that the length of AB is 6. Okay, so if you look, our x, y and z coordinate axes are slightly around the other way, so you'll see that this is my x coordinate axis here. Okay, so B, I'm going along the x coordinate axis 6 places, so the x coordinate of B is 6. Okay, x coordinate of B is 6. Right. I haven't gone up the y at all for B, so the y coordinate is 0. And I haven't gone out the z axis at all for B, so the z coordinate there is 0. Okay, right, coordinate C, C's out here. Okay, so to get to C, I've gone along the x coordinate axis 6 places, so the x coordinate is 6. I've not gone up the y at all to get to C. Okay, so the y coordinate is 0. And finally, your z coordinate, which is this way here, you'll see that the length of AD there is 5, so the z coordinate of C there must be 5. Okay, right, on to coordinate D, that's D there. So we haven't gone along the x at all, so x is 0. Haven't gone up y at all, okay, because that's up the y here, so we're not going along the y at all to get to D, so y is 0. But we have gone along the z axis 5 places, so the z coordinate there is 5. Okay, on to E, we haven't gone along the x at all, so x is 0. We have gone up the y 2 places. Okay, so y is 2. And we've not gone out the z axis at all, so z is 0. Okay. Okay, on to F. Right, to get to F, I go along the x-axis 6 places, so my x-coordinate is 6. I go up my y-axis 2 places, so my y-coordinate is 2. And I'm not going out the z-axis at all, okay, to get to F, so z is 0. Right, on to G, I'm going along the x-axis 6 places. 6. I'm going up the y 2 places, y coordinate is 2, and I'm going out the z axis 5 places, z coordinate there is 5. Right, finally for H, I'm not going out x at all. Okay, here's my x axis here, I don't go out it at all to get to H, so x coordinate there is 0. I do go up my y 2 places to get to H, so 2 for y, and I'm going out my z 5 places, so it would be 5 for my z coordinate there. Okay, great. Right folks, this is question 4 here. The first part of question 4, we are asked to write down the coordinates of the points Q, R, S, T, U, V, W and X. So let's start with Q. Okay, so Q's here. And let's look at where our axes are this time. So this is our x-axis, our y-axis up and down the way, and our z-axis across the way. So to get to Q, you'll see that I'm going out one place in the x-axis. So that means my x-coordinate is 1 for Q. I am not going up at all to get to Q. So y-coordinate is going to be 0. So Q is sitting on that kind of lower plane there, it's the ground there. Okay, so we're not going up y at all. And you'll see that I've also gone out the z axis to get to Q, so my z coordinate there is 1. Right, point R, okay, you'll see we go out the x-axis 4 places to get to R, so R's 4. Again, we don't go up at all, so it's on the same plane as Q, so we go the y coordinate is 4, and again, like the point Q, I've gone out one place in the z coordinate axis, so 4, 0, 1 are the coordinates of R. On to S, so starting with the x-axis, to get to S I go along 4 places, so my x coordinate is 4. I don't go up at all, S is lying on the same plane as Q and R, so y coordinate is 0. And to get to S, I've had to go out 4 places there on my z coordinate. So let's get a z coordinate of 4. Okay, I'll change that 4 to be there. Okay, that's a bit better. Right. On to T, again along x1. Line on the ground there, so not up at all for T, so y coordinate is 0, and again I've gone out 4 places on the z axis there. Okay, going out 4 places. Okay, 4 places to get to T. Right, on to U, which is up here. Okay, so we've gone out the x coordinate axis 1. This time I go up 4 places in the y, so y coordinate 4. And I have gone out 1 place on the z-axis, so z coordinate is 1. On to V, V is here, so we go out 4 places on the x coordinate, so axis, so x coordinate is 4. We're going up 4 places on the y coordinate axis, so y coordinate axis is 4, and I've gone out 1 place to get to V on the z, so that's 1. Okay, on to W, again out in the x coordinate 4, up the y 4, and out in the z 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally X is there, so X, we're going out x coordinate axis 1. We're going up y coordinate axis 4, and on my z coordinate axis I've gone out 4 places too. Okay, so they're the coordinates for the cuboid shape here. Okay. Right, okay, part B in question 4 asks us to find the volume of the cuboid. So to find the volume of the cuboid, I need to know the length, the breadth, and the height. Okay, because volume is length times breadth times height in a cuboid. Okay, so let's start off with the length of the cuboid. Right, so we'll call this the length here. It doesn't really matter, but we'll call this the length. So if we look, the length goes from 1 to 4. So that means the length of the cuboid there is 3. Okay, so the length is 3. 3. Okay, let's call this the breadth. Okay, or this one here. Maybe easier to see here. Again, it goes from 1 to 4. So the breadth there is 3 as well. Okay, so the breadth is 3. Doesn't look like a square that, but it's just the way I've drawn it. And the height of the shape, it goes from 0 to 4, so the height of the shape is 4. So to work out the volume, I am doing 3 times 3 times 4, giving me a volume of 36, that doesn't look like a 3, 36 units cubed. Okay, right, part C, part C asks us to find the surface area. Okay, surface area. Now, surface area is just the area of all the surfaces added together. Okay, so we've got to find the area of the front face here and the back face. Now they'll both be the same. Okay, we've got to find the area of the 2 side faces. Again, they'll both be the same. And we need to find the area of the top and the bottom. Okay, so we need to do all 6 faces separately. Right, so let's start with the front. Okay, I'm just going to write down the front face there. So to work out the area of the front, which is this one here, we know that the length here is 3 and the height there is 4. So the front face will be 3 times 4, which is 12. Okay, 12. And the back will be the same. Okay, the back face there will be exactly the same. It's going to be 12 as well. Yeah. The back there will be 12. Right, now we need to work out what I'll call the left-hand side. Okay, so the left-hand side, make it this face here. Okay, this face right here. Okay, and we know that that is 3 by 4. Okay, 3 by 4. So again, the left-hand side is going to be a 3 by 4, which is 12. And we know that the right-hand side will be the same, and it's going to be 12 also. Okay, so that just leaves us now to work out the top and the bottom. Okay, so if you look at the top, it really doesn't look like it, my diagram, guys. My diagram's terrible, okay, but this goes from 1 to 4, so that's going to be 3, and this goes from 1 to 4, so that's 3 as well. So what we have is a 3 by 3 square, although it doesn't look like it. So 3 times 3 gives us 9, and the bottom will be the exact same, 9. Okay, 9 and 9. So to work out the total surface area, I just need to add all these up. So I've got 18, add 12 gives me 30, 42, 54, and 66 units squared. Okay.